Hey, you want to watch some TV or something?
Skip it. Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Nothing but foul language and toilet humor.
I'm disgusted and repulsed and I can't look away.
I need these things! I need these things! Tell me, do you want to go? We're stopping on the color line. Oh, no way, Jose.
This just in, go to hell!
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Hello, friends and listeners. You've got Watch Skip Plus. We are a movie review podcast with a lifestyle twist. That twist is we give you bonus reviews after the movie review proper. If you're joining us for the first time on Spotify, whether you're watching it or listening, we know our fans love to listen rather than watch the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It might be this way or that way, I don't know. And then click the bell button so that you get an update when we upload a new video. We try to do these. I try to get these out Thursday morning. Life can take over, so maybe Friday, a little flex. Anyway, I'm Cupcake, also known as Machine Gun Jelly, also Constant Cupcake, and I'm joined by my new co-host for 2025 and hopefully beyond, Mike, the WillDaBeast. Mike, how are you?
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm the WillDaBeast.
Excellent, excellent. And so last week we reviewed The Wolfman, which had a kind of an interesting confluence with Sundance, considering that some of the people involved in the project were very Sundance related. I think we're about to get a major Sundance confluence with our film this week. What are we reviewing?
We are reviewing Steven Soderbergh's The Presence. That was actually premiered at Sundance last year, Sundance 2024.
Yeah. And it was like it was top secret, was it not? Like nobody knew that this was going to be a movie for Sundance, and it was sort of like a quick project that Soderbergh and the writer did together, and then it came out. I remember when we did our Sundance episode, I was like, "Did you see the Soderbergh?" And I think there was a weird ticket thing for you, and you missed it.
Yeah, I think I chose Hitman instead because I really wanted to be able to see that in an audience. So
got it.
And I knew Soderbergh was going to get theatrical release later on, so I chose Hitman.
Excellent. They're still trying to make Glenn Powell happen, and I don't know why.
I do. He's charming as hell.
Hey, he's sexy, but anyway, let's dive below the line. And I had said that we were going to strip down Watch Skip Plus, and not get too technical, but I have to geek out over Steven Soderbergh. Soderbergh, as you mentioned, he's been, or maybe you didn't mention this before, but he has been a constant Sundance presence, has he not?
Yeah, that's kind of where he got his start. He's one of those 90s Sundance boys, like up there with Tarantino. Before him, you had the 80s guys like Jarmusch and some of those folks. But yeah, he's part of that 90s group. I think maybe it was late 80s, 89. Is that when Sex, Lies, and Videotape? 89 or 90?
So that came out in 89.
Yeah.
But you are right. In fact, many call Soderbergh the pioneer of modern independent cinema. I call him the father of independent cinema, primarily because, Yellowstone, love it. Primarily because Sex, Lies, and Videotape, it was considered the most influential catalyst for the 1990s independent movement. Roger Ebert called him the poster boy of the Sundance generation. He was a sensation, a prodigy. Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which starred James Spader, Andy McDowell, Laura San Giacomo, and who am I missing? Peter Gallagher?
Gallagher.
Yes.
The main cast, yep.
I get confused because he was also in American Beauty, which kind of had weird, like, adultery things. Was he in American Beauty? Maybe. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But that's part of the Library of Congress now, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Soderbergh in addition to being gorgeous, I'm in love with him. He is Swedish, Italian, Irish. That's where his beautiful good looks come from. But he is, quite honestly, looking over his resume, I hate to say it. And the reason why I say I hate to say it is because I don't want to offend anybody else by saying this. But I really honestly think that above all of the directors that I know and love, I think Soderbergh is probably my favorite, honestly. So he, obviously, we talked about Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and his career has kind of been almost Nicolas Cagey, right? Some of his films come out, they bomb. Kafka, King of the Hill, but then he comes roaring back with these commercial studio films which have indie flair. So Aaron Brockovich, Traffic, those were big Oscar winners. He has been one of 5 directors to sweep the big 4 Critics Awards with his films. And so he joins the ranks of Quentin Tarantino, Curtis Hanson, David Fincher, and Barry Jenkins. I mean, let's talk about some of his movies. Traffic, we talked about that. He has 14 Oscar nominations. Out of Sight practically launched Jennifer Lopez's career, put George Clooney back in the spotlight. The Ocean's trilogy, Magic Mike, 2010's Contagion actually put the world on notice of pandemics. That was in 2010. And then we had the COVID pandemic, right? I remember when that happened, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be Gwyneth Paltrow in Contagion or whatever. But, you know, he's known for his like inventive style and just really compelling stories. So when I say inventive style, I'm talking about like Unsane, which was shot on iPhones. Logan Lucky, featuring an amazing Daniel Craig performance that was so out of the box at the time. On his website, he's done things like he's mashed up Alfred Hitchcock's original Psycho and then Gus Van Sant's Psycho in a short called Psychos. He even did his own cut of Heaven's Gate. He called it the what did he call it? The Butcher's Cut. Yep. He even uploaded like a black and white version of Raiders of the Lost Ark set to Trent Reznor's soundtrack for The Social Network. And then there was that show Mosaic with Sharon Stone, where there was an app where you could actually see all of the unedited footage and go through the story yourself and then watch it. So he's always thinking out of the box. I love that guy. A couple fun facts. His first job was as a game show composer and a cue card holder, right? From humble beginnings. And then apparently he won a Grammy Award for the concert video 9012 Live for the rock band Yes. And that was a Grammy nomination for Best Music Video Long Form. And again, he's done TV shows too, like The Girlfriend Experience. There was a recent one called Full Circle, which I didn't get to. The Nick, about a 20th century hospital with Clive Owen.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing stuff. So what's your take on Soderbergh?
I love Soderbergh, and I love that his like whole mentality is like, I'll do one for the bigwigs and then I'll do one for me. You know, the last big movie was Magic Mike's Last Dance, which, you know, is what it is. And then we get Presents. And then before that, we got Kimmy. And, you know, he always does, he seems to like give one for the big Hollywood blockbusters and then do one for him. I remember back when he dropped Bubble, which I think was like right after he was did an Ocean's movie. So he always is wanting to experiment. He doesn't want to get too comfortable. He doesn't want to play it safe. Whether it's making the 2-part Che Guerrero, biopic, or doing, you know, Ocean's 13 and then The Girlfriend Experience. I mean, he's always kept me on my toes as a film watcher. And then, you know, when he dabbled into action with Haywire, it's like, wow, this guy could do everything. So one thing that I love about him is he's genreless. I mean, he can do something like Haywire and then give us Behind the Candelabra. So he can absolutely bounce from genre to genre and mixes and blends genres, which I think we're going to talk about more when we get into the film proper with Presence, because really it just is about blending genres and kind of keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the one thing I love about Soderbergh, and you hear this from actors that work with him, he really just loves to just set up the camera, do natural lighting, let the actors do what they do, maybe even let them improvise, and he's quick about it. A lot of his films, they're shot in like 28 days, 22 days, you know? And again, he's not above releasing something on streaming, like Let Them Talk, The Laundromat, Kimmy. Those were all direct to HBO Max, and they were fantastic. I mean, I know a lot of people have slept on Kimmy, and it is just brilliant beyond anything. It's just amazing. And then Let Them Talk About It or whatever with Meryl Streep. Oh my God.
Let Them All Talk. Yeah.
Let Them All Talk. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Okay. So our writer is David Koepp, another kind of Sundance sort of guy as well, because, you know, he's written some films, they're big films, but then he's also directed his own smaller films. Koepp has a film degree from UCLA. I also happen to think he's super gorgeous. Get this, he is the 9th most successful screenwriter in the US in terms of his US box office.
Wow.
2.3 billion grosses for all of his films together, right? So his first films that he wrote were the incredible Apartment Zero with Hart Bochner, if anybody's seen that, and then Bad Influence, which was interesting because it came out around the time that Rob Lowe and James Spader were in Bad Influence, right around the time his porno sex tape came out. And in Bad Influence, there is a Rob Lowe porno sex tape. So it's kind of like, what's going on here? But he has written some major, major films. He's been on Watch Skip Plus. We did Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yep.
We're not going to hold that against him. But you talked about Jurassic Park as one of your favorite films. He wrote that. He wrote Mission Impossible, the Spider-Man, Raimi's Spider-Man, War of the Worlds for Spielberg, Angels and Demons. He got a $4 million paycheck for his script for Panic Room, which is incredible. He's also an author. He's written sci-fi novels, 2 of them, Cold Storage and Aurora. They are slated to become movies. And he has written and directed his own films, The Trigger Effect, 2 films with Kevin Bacon, Stir of Echoes in 1999. That caused a big sensation. It's a great ghost story. You Should Have Left, which was not entirely successful, but still kind of good. Secret Window with Johnny Depp, Ghost Town, Premium Rush, which is better than expected. That was great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt on a bike, and there's like this like Hitchcockian kind of Mijigas going on. And then unfortunately, he directed Mordecai, which I enjoy, but was a huge bomb. Starring Johnny Depp and Gwyneth Paltrow. Where do you fall on Koepp?
Oh, I love his writing. I mean, I think the first film of his that I saw was Toy Soldiers. And then, I mean, that back to back then in the 90s, from Toy Soldiers to Death Becomes Her to Jurassic Park to Carlito's Way. I mean, talk about genreless, touching little everything in those 4 big films. So, I mean, we've all, if you love film, you've seen a David Koepp movie. I mean, most people have, whether it's working with De Palma on Snake Eyes, you know, or the Spider-Man movies. He's always surprising. Even Zathura, Space Adventure, which is a favorite for my kids. He's done so much. Yeah, he's done so much stuff. You can go all over the list of favorites. And I'm glad you talked about Premium Rush, because that is one of my favorite movies with JGL. I really think that's underwatched, and it's just a ton of fun. It's the most exciting movie about a biker you've ever seen. Just a lot of fun. And yeah, him and Michael Shannon are just so freaking good in it. It's just a great film. So yes, I'm a big fan. I think that he's a great writer. Sometimes he gets a little mired in stereotypes, like in Ghost Town, one of his weaker efforts, but he still really knows how to tell a story and knows how to get us involved in characters.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And I think the biggest crime among film goers is you say David Koepp and they're still kind of like, who? Right? Like, I feel like his name should be on everybody's lips when we talk about like screenwriters, you know?
For sure.
So music is by Zach Ryan. He has worked with Soderbergh before on Full Circle, the television show Leavenworth, which is a really great episodic documentary on Netflix that Soderbergh EP'd. That's the Army criminal case regarding Clint Lawrence. Our DP is Peter Andrews, and our editor is Mary Ann Bernard. And what everybody should know, as I noted before in one of our Watch Skip Plus episodes, those are pseudonyms for Steven Soderbergh. So Peter Andrews, he uses often when he's an editor, and Mary Ann Bernard, fun fact, that's his mom's maiden name. So two other things I should probably mention, and then we'll get into our spoiler-free thoughts on Presence. Koepp is an EP on this, and the distributor is Neon, who is on a streak, right? Everybody is A24, A24, A24. Let's remember Neon, folks. Okay. So this production and distribution company was co-founded by Tim League, who also co-founded the Alamo Draft House. Wow. Big project, right? But League is no longer involved in the daily operations, but this Neon was founded in 2019. Here are the films that they've either produced, made, or distributed. I, Tanya, Worst Person in the World, Ferrari, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, and they have the distinction of picking up the distribution rights for the last 5 Palme d'Or winners at Cannes Film Festival. So we're talking Parasite, Titane, Triangle of Sadness, Anatomy of the Fall, and then the purported Oscar darling, Anora. Oh my God. If you are listening, Mike just did like the kind of like gag.
Okay.
No, so
I won't go there.
I loved Anora. Really quickly, I'm dying to hear, why did you not like Anora?
I just feel it's really mid. It's too long. It's really mid. It doesn't hit its goal of what it wants to do. It's the rich taking advantage of the poor. It's a workplace drama, but it didn't really hit with me when I first watched it. I know I need to watch it again, but every time I hear it, it just makes me wince. And the lead actress, I can't despise. I kind of despise her. I can't stand her.
Mikey,
I think she is
like her?
I don't. I haven't liked her ever. I think she ruins. We'll have a disagreement, but I think Scream 5 is ruined because of her. It's one of my least favorite next to 3. I think she's awful. Her and freaking Meg Ryan's kid in that just are like the worst duo. I hated them so much.
Ooh,
I really just
freakish.
I hated her in that, but I'm just not a fan of her. And I'm not a big Sean Baker guy either. So I feel like he makes movies that are just I think he makes meandering films that don't know how. Again, he edits a lot of his own movies, and why he got nominated for Best Editor when the movie is an hour and 40 minutes and it's 2 hours and 10. You have an hour and 40 minutes of material, and then you blow it up 30 extra minutes to get us these wonderful little montages of people having fun and partying and stripping. There's just too many montage moments. There's too much. And then that middle section comes in like a sledgehammer, ruins the movie for me.
Yeah, it goes Tarantino. Yeah.
I don't want to go off about it, but it's
Baker's social commentary punching. You don't like that?
There are things that I like about his social commentary, but at the same time, he just loves to do poverty porn, and I'm kind of over it.
Oh, I like that. Poverty porn. That's like, what do you call it? It's like actors ugly crying for the Oscar, yeah?
Yeah, he does these movies about people who are poor, who are struggling, who are down on themselves. And again, yeah, when at the end of that movie, when she accepts that little amount of money, I'm like, why? Why? You just give up? You cannot fight against this woman, the oligarch. Anyways, there's many choices that he makes in that film that frustrate me, but I need to see it again. I guess I was hoping to get more caught into the plot, where the plot is just there to string us along for his message about, we need to fight against the rich. We need to fight against those that are in control of us. And that message, it hits afterwards, but during the film, it took me a while. So anyways, but I love Neon. I think that they're picking up a lot of great stuff. This was picked up at Sundance. It went into Sundance without a distributor. And I remember the hype. Presence was part of the midnight section. So it was really exciting that it got I didn't think it'd get a big theatrical release, but Neon's been doing that with a lot of stuff they picked up. So
Long Legs, they've got the Monkey coming up, which I don't know. The trailers are messing it all up for me, folks. Stop messing it all up in the trailers. But okay, so before we get into the spoilers, though, do you want to run down the cast really quick?
Yeah, let's do just a quick
cast.
quick cast here. I mean, mainly this is a four-parter with our four main leads. Lucy Liu plays the mother, Rebecca.
Love her.
If you don't know Lucy Liu, come on. I know you're going to talk about the the Charlie's Angels movies, but Lucy Liu's been around forever. For me, I loved her in Chicago. I love her in Kill Bill. I mean, she's just wonderful as an actress, and I think that some people don't give her due because some people look at her as just a pretty face, but I think she really can act, and I think
Yeah.
when given the right material, she can really knock it out. So yeah,
Well,
I'm a big fan of hers.
It's certainly not things like Rise, Blood Hunter, or whatever. But I think the reason why people sort of underestimate Lucy Liu maybe is because she started in television. She's if you watch X-Files, I believe it was probably season 1 or season 2. She's in a really great episode. I think it's called like Blood Money, something money or whatever. But she was on Ally McBeal, and she was on Elementary or whatever. But yeah, people don't give her due. And that sort of story about her standing up to Bill Murray keeps resurfacing every now and then. But I love it. I love it when it comes out because it just reinforces she's just fantastic. Who else?
She's great. And then of course I'm sure you'll call him Big Daddy, Chris Sullivan from this. He's
him.
I'm sure he's your type.
Yeah, I love him. I've been a huge Chris Sullivan fan. He was on The Nick. He's fantastic. He was also I kind of feel like he was in the beginning of some movie that involved like a genetically altered girl. Was he in the beginning of Stranger Things? I think he was actually.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's briefly in the beginning of Stranger Things, I think, or either that or it's Morgan or something. Anyway, I love the guy. I absolutely
Morgan.
love the guy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I think, he was in Stranger Things and Morgan. The first thing that I remember seeing him in is This Is Us. He's great in that show.
Toby, so good.
Toby, he's just the heartbeat. And then, he really blew me away in this. We'll talk more, but he kind of is the shining star of this film, I felt like, once we get more into Presence. But every time that he's there in anything, he's awesome. He's a voice actor who's been in a lot of stuff as well. So he's a voice you've heard. He's a really recognizable face, and I'm sure he's on your Big Daddies, guys I have a crush on list.
He's a lovely human being.
He's a hunk. And then we've got Eddie Madej, who plays Tyler. This is actually his first film. And I think they did a great job of casting him. He looks a lot like he would be Lucy and Chris's kid. So
he's cuddly. He reminds me of like who was the cute boy that was in May December who just blew me away? I was like, wow, I thought you couldn't act.
He was in Riverdale. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he played Reggie in Riverdale. Yeah, he shows up in a lot of stuff, and he's actually quite good. And pretty much everything I've seen him in.
Charles Melton, and then Ross Burton. I think I put these three.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they look alike.
They're going to take each other's roles or whatever.
Yeah. And then I think the other big lead of the four is Selena Liang. She is, I think this is her fourth thing, pretty new. She's been in TV series Foundation and Tell Me Everything. And then she had a lead role in a film called Bad Genius, which I have not seen yet. So she really is making a mark for her, and I thought she really was excellent in this. Really, really good. And one fifth we'll mention, just because he's probably been in more stuff than the other younger leads, is Wes Mulholland. He kind of plays our villain.
The name. Okay.
He looks like a Wes Mulholland, doesn't he?
I mean, I'm just like, well, first of all, he sounds like a direction. Where's the Royal Farms? Take a right on West Mulholland. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. He plays the baddie in this. I saw him in Dark Harvest, which is a great little horror fantasy.
Right?
Yeah,
David Slade. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, he's been in a few things, and I think that he had a good presence. I don't think he was great in this film, but he has a good presence, and he's definitely going to go somewhere.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think
he's got the look.
Very
and the chops.
menacing. He not only does he have the look, but he does this face where I'm just like, evil, pure evil, pure evil.
Yeah, some of the dialogue he was given, I think, is probably some of the weakness. But anyways, that's the main cast. Is there anything else you want to say about any of the cast there?
Nope. I think that's good. Well, other than Julia Fox.
She pops in.
She was the muse for Josh Safdie when he wrote Uncut Gems. She was also in that movie. I think she's a model. Is she an Italian model? Something.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. And
She's
so I
beautiful.
hate her. And when she exited the screen after her brief time, I was like, good, no more Julia Fox. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm going to start with you. Spoiler-free thoughts on Presence. Go for it.
Awesome. All right. So Presence is it's a 2024, actually 2025 now, mystery, kind of blend of mystery, thriller, family drama, about a family that becomes convinced that they're not alone after moving into a new home in the suburbs after some tragedy that bestruck their daughter at another school. So it starts out right from the beginning. We start with a view eye of a camera floating through a house with some of that score. We can talk about the score. Just absolutely beautiful score throughout. It paints this beautiful picture as we watch this camera spin around, and we get to know this home. We get to see what we're about to spend the majority of the film is in this house. So the intro does a great job of building up mystery, and the whole film is just this ride as what we realize we're seeing the point of view of a ghost, aka the presence of the film. So we are literally watching as the presence goes around stalking and looking at this family, and everything that we see from the plot comes from the point of view of the presence. Talk about really smart, really brilliant way of telling the story. Again, unique, similar to some of the things he did with Bubble and filming with Kimmy. The way this was filmed, just absolutely brilliant. I really had a good time. I mean, just up front with Presence, I thought that it was a nice little genre piece from Soderbergh and Koepp, and for an 80, gosh, what is it, 82, 83 minutes? It's just a fun genre piece that kept me, wanting more. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's got some flaws, but man, is this a lot of fun to watch. And the acting, keeps you involved. The writing keeps you involved. Yeah, there's some ham-fisted dialogue here and there is some, coincidences towards the end. But overall, my first thoughts are I had a good time, and yeah, I think more people need to see this while it's in theaters and catch the vibe. What about you?
I'm going to ask some questions before I get to mine. A lot has been made of the fact that, the perspective of this is from the presence's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like that worked for the material, or did it take you out of it? Like, what would you say to somebody who's like on the fence and sort of is like, ugh?
I thought it worked. I thought it worked gangbusters. I'm a big fan of found footage films. I like what it does. It kind of immerses you in the film. So this immersed me in the film. I felt like I was spinning and swimming through the screen. So I really enjoyed that. And it's not obnoxious like a lot of found footage. And again, this isn't a found footage film, but it just has a really unique look to it. There's at times they use kind of a fisheye lens to kind of make you feel like you're disoriented, and you're able to actually feel the energy and rage or different emotion of the spirit through the way the camera moves. So again, kudos to Soderbergh and Koepp for really, throwing convention away and really just having fun with something unique and different. And of course, it is, like we said, this is more experimental. It's really different. Unfortunately, I was the only person in my theater. I talked to the gal when I went, and she's like, "You're the first person to buy tickets. I don't think anyone's bought any online." So,
oh no.
So unfortunately, I do not think this is going to fare well. It'll probably be gone in a week or two. But if if it's still in theaters, just go watch it.
How'd you feel about the cast? We've got some new faces. Did they measure up?
I thought that the son was, of course, this is his first film. You can tell this is his first film. He's not great. Neither is Wes, the villain, or whatever. The rest of them I thought was awesome. With Chris Sullivan being just the heart and soul of the film. I thought as a father, he plays this loving, doting father who is kind of struggling with his marriage, kind of struggling with what's going on with his wife, and some things that she's getting involved in, but there's enough family drama and then a nice little twist at the end. Overall, this is just a fun genre piece. It's, if you're going in expecting to be wowed by something that's going to like make you think differently, no, it literally is just let's have fun. Let's kind of take something that could be conventional. Let's experiment with it and just have a quick little 80-minute genre piece about a family. And without going into the spoilers, I really like the whole ghost aspect. And of course, there was some ham-fisted things where they added in the psychic or whatever who comes in, and we can go more into detail there. But overall, I think there's much more positive than negative here. I definitely felt like it worked. And the acting, I thought Lucy was great. As this kind of mother who's so wrapped up in her work that she can't see in front of her nose what's going on. She's allowing her son to just act like a complete asshole in front of her and her husband. Just totally, like, the one aspect I really enjoyed was the mama's boy and father-daughter aspects, which as a parent, me and my wife, we notice that you will tend to, the mother does tend to bond with the son, and the father tends to bond with the daughter more. Now, some people on the internet and other people like, oh, it felt like almost incestual how much Lucy Liu was into her son. I'm like, no, I think she just liked his drive almost to the point, because she seems like someone who's driven so much that she doesn't really care about laws or legality. She's just going to do what she needs to do to make the money I mean, she's in real estate and mortgages of some sort. And you could tell that she's getting into something a little bit not so
Dicey.
good. Yes.
One last thing. I have a dear friend of mine. Hey, Lisa. She doesn't like scary movies. Did you think this was like a horror film? Were there moments that you were scared or freaked out?
There's a couple jump moments, but for the most part, this is more about mystery. It's more of a family drama with little inherent pieces of mystery, which again, Koepp really shows that he knows how to write, strings things together enough to kind of keep you on this slow, steady roller coaster as you're kind of going through the motions to find out who this presence is. Why are they with this family? What's so important? We find out that there might be two other young girls that were killed, and how does this tie into everything? So there's just a lot of little morsels that are given and dropped throughout, little breadcrumbs that keep you going. So anyone who's into a good, well-written mystery, I think Presence really does deliver there. So I would say if you're looking for a jump scare, you're looking for something scary, this isn't it. This is for people who want to experience something different from Soderbergh and go with a little experimental mystery, thriller is what I would call it. More of a family drama mystery.
Watch your
but not. It's totally a watch. I would say between soft and a regular watch, definitely not a hard watch. I think people need to get to the theater to see it. It's beautiful. The music is, the score is just absolutely gorgeous and haunting when it needs to be. It looked great. So yeah, experience it in the theater if you can.
Nice. You mentioned that this movie is kind of, I almost said genderless, genreless,
yeah.
Yeah, or that it breaks genres, and I love that description of it, because I think beyond the I'm going to call it a gimmick, but that almost sounds offensive, but beyond the gimmick of it being shot from the presence's point of view, I think that, as you said before, it's a family drama, there's a thriller, there's kind of a supernatural element to it. What is really happening? And I love that, as you said before, information gets dropped, albeit somewhat in a hokey way when it comes to certain characters. Information gets dropped, and like a good 70s movie, you kind of have to catch up.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be like, okay, what really is happening? And so I think what happens, what was, for me anyway, was really interesting, was that you get these pieces, you have to sort of put the things together, and you have to listen to the characters, right? So in my movie theater, I did have kind of a half full movie theater, but there were these girls that were on their phone. And I think that if you're on your phone, you are going to miss stuff, I think. And so that's what I love about this, is ostensibly it seems like, oh, it's a ghost story, but you have to sort of pay attention and watch what's actually happening. You mentioned the fisheye. I love how they did this. I didn't read up. I tend not to do research before I do the review. But I didn't read up on it. I don't know what camera they used or what lenses. Maybe the lenses were specially crafted, because you're right. You get this fisheye, but it's not quite a fisheye, but it's expansive enough that it feels disorienting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say this, and Steven, I still want to marry you. It's okay. But I was at first disappointed by this.
Wow.
In fact, I dubbed it Steven Soderbergh's after school special. But the sneaky thing about this film is, and again, I think this is a credit to Soderbergh's editing and to Koepp's writing, is that although I was disappointed and I kind of was like, rah, why didn't this go to HBO Max? Why, instead of, the theatrical birth that like Magic Mike's Last Dance, oh God, or whatever. But the more I thought about this movie, and we're going to talk about it in the spoilers, the more that I was like, oh my God, what I thought were flaws reinforced the storytelling and the narrative. And it wasn't until I realized, when it comes to film, I always say this, I always say that hokey thing, like the beginning tells you everything that you need to know about the end. But here, when I watched the ending, I rethought about what I saw, and it changed the entire film for me, because I just thought, okay, whatever, ghost point of view, this is fine. And then I just was thinking about it. There is also, I'm not going to mention it because it'll just totally give everything away. The credits are in a particular font. The music reminds me of a certain film. Let's not say the film until we get the spoilers. The whole thematic structure of everything feels a lot like another seminal film. And I loved that nod. Again, I don't think we want to say it because it's going to ruin everything. But I was pleasantly surprised. So even though I was disappointed, like all of Soderbergh's films, like go back and watch Full Frontal, go back and watch Side Effects. All of his films may feel disappointing at first, but then you think about the things that happen. You're like, God damn it, that was a great fucking movie. No Sudden Move. I felt the same way about No Sudden Move. I was like, and then I thought about it. I was like, damn, that was fucking great. So it's weird. It's a marginal watch, but then I want everybody to go see it because it's more than just what it shows. Acting wise, you are correct. West Mulholland, I was like, yo, dial it back. Please dial it back.
Especially the last third. I'm just like, bro, oh man.
God. Also, I didn't know if it was the fisheye lens, but either his posture is really bad or
kind of like it's very like hunched over at times, and then it's interesting choices.
Maybe it was an acting choice. I don't know. It was. But for those of you interested, he does look good shirtless, and he has pretty feet. And he's got a nice toe spread, which is more than I can say for Chris Sullivan. Like his toes are all bunched together. But enough about my Quentin Tarantino. Well, when you walk, your toes are supposed to spread out. And because of our modern shoes, they're cramped together like Chris Sullivan's. Like his are like this. And West Mulholland's are like this.
I did not look at his feet. And a whole new fetish just came out for
enough of my fetishes. Anyway, it's a watch. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna go into spoilers. If you have not seen Presence, you're gonna want to definitely turn us off, come back, but we hope you stick around because after spoilers, we've got our pluses. So we're gonna spoil it in 3, 2, 1. So the movie that we are talking about, The Nod, because the credit titles are exactly like it, the music is exactly like it, is Poltergeist. Yeah,
Poltergeist.
Absolutely. I mean, even to the point where the ghost returns to the closet.
Yep. Yep. My notes said poltergeist in the beginning and at the end, poltergeist font.
Yes. And then if you think about Poltergeist, that movie was really about like mom was like the center of this nuclear family, and dad was just kind of go along, get along. And then it wasn't until like coffins are busting out of the kitchen that he was like, whatever. Here it's reversed. Sullivan is the touchy-feely dad, and he's really good in those little quiet moments between the two of them. And Lucy Liu is the detached, let's go hard. This is, it's all about the sports, it's all about the prestige and who's seeing who. And West Mulholland is like a big deal at his school. Let it happen. What did you think of that interesting sort of dichotomy in terms of the parental relationships?
Yeah, I think in some ways they were kind of playing on stereotype of the Asian mom doting over the athletic, kind of scholar son. It seemed really like stereotypical. She seemed like one of those win at all cost is how they built her character. And literally she did win, and at what cost. So she seems like someone who was loving the fact that her mentality was kind of leaching into her son. And the fact that, I mean, there's a scene that I just keep going back to where they're sitting and they're conversing, and the son's just going off on a F-bomb tirade, conversing with their parents, and the father, Chris Sullivan, is just like, you like kept saying, why at this point, why do you have to keep saying these words? Like, as a father, I would feel the same way too. And there comes a point when he sits and he talks to him, and this is the moment that I keep going back to. He says, you know what? Inside of you, there's a good person. I just hope I can live long enough to see it someday.
Oh my God, crushing.
Bam. And then that freaking, then the twist at the very end, that hit me, and my mouth was ajar. It was just like, when you see the twist, let's spoil the twist. The twist is, so basically we're wondering, who is this spirit? They make us think that maybe it was one of the dead girls, Nadia, who was friends with our lead, her best friend. And then we find out there was another girl who passed away, so maybe it was her. We're thinking that there's some kind of tie into it. But then when our psychic comes in, she talks about how time is different for ghosts, and this spirit does not come from this time. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, a little ham-fisted dialogue. I started thinking, what does that mean? Is this really what is this being? Well, come to find out, the actual ghost was the ghost of the son who comes back to save his sister and save the day and prove to his father that he actually was a good person and wanted to prove.
Whoa, wait a minute. Really?
Yep. There you go. That's the ending. That's the twist.
Did I miss? Okay.
Yeah, he actually was.
All right. Because, okay, so this is how I interpreted the movie. I did not get that. Thank you so much. See, this is the fun tightrope of reviewing films, because I got it wrong, and I think you're correct about that. So when I saw the ending, and maybe it can be interpreted several ways. When I saw the ending, so at the end of the film, the boy has saved his sister. So Wes Mulholland shows up. He puts Ambien in the son's drink. He goes out. He puts a roofie in the sister's drink. He's about to rape the shit out of her. And then the presence, and it's telegraphed by like this like beating of like the camera. And the presence wakes him up, and he goes upstairs, and he's like, get away from my sister, grabs him. They go out the window, and mind you, the psychic is like, there's a window that doesn't open, help me. And then they go out the window, and then they die. And then at the end, they've sold the house. There's a time jump, so at first I was annoyed with all the blackouts, and then I realized, oh shit, it's that time jump. That time is not the same to a presence.
Time's not the same to the presence. Yep.
Yeah. But there's a time jump. The house is being sold. Lucy Liu looks into the silver nitrate mirror and sees her son. she cries, and then the camera pans back and then goes up to heaven, right?
Yep.
And then at that point I was like, oh shit, that's like the ghost perspective. That's the son's perspective. So my feeling was all of those blackouts, we were seeing the different perspectives of other ghosts. And the reason why I thought this was, so in the beginning, she's like, Nadia, and then like the ghost lifts stuff off of her bed and puts it on the desk, right? But then the second time, the ghost that wakes up the son, I thought was the first victim, the first woman, right? Because if you could spectrally pick up physical objects, why wouldn't you act on the rapist again? And so I was like, because it's not Nadia's presence, it's the first victim's presence. She's the one who wakes up the boy, and then the boy, falls out and dies. And then we get a third perspective of the son going up to heaven. That was my interpretation of it. But I love what you just thought of, which completely
It seems obvious to me. I mean, everything, because even when the psychic is there, she keeps staring at the mirror, and then she looks at the sun, stares at the mirror. She does it twice. There's lots of things where now, like after,
I missed that.
After it's because she was seeing the ghost of the son, and she wasn't going to say anything about it because she saw him, and that's why she mentioned things like, oh, there's so many things. And then when the son is just being a total asshole, talking about how him and his friend humiliated this girl and shows the picture, he goes and he tears the room apart because he's mad at himself. He realizes what an asshole I was, what a piece of shit I was, and he goes and destroys his own room. All these little things he's doing because he's mad at himself. The ghost is coming back, and she talks about how when the spirit arrived, it was, disoriented, didn't know why they were here, what they were doing, or even who they were. And you can kind of see the way the camera is when it first arrives. It's like, boom, he's in this house. He doesn't really know where he's at as the camera is spinning through the whole room, which of course gives us the ability to see where every room is and how the house is built, which is great. And then,
oh my God, and he
keeps thinking
because
he hides in the closet.
When he knew the incident was going to happen,
and he knew where it was going to be, and he woke himself up, whether he went and possessed himself or whispered into his own ear to wake himself up to get him to go and attack. And of course, the window at the beginning that we're peering through is the window they go through at the end. There is a lot of cool stuff.
And you say it's weird because thinking back on it, when he runs into the bedroom, as he's running up the stairs, he's like, stay away from my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I got it wrong. This is
the ghost was the brother, and he came back to save.
So happy.
So yeah, he came back to save his sister, and he did it, and he sacrificed himself again. I'm guessing he probably died from the overdose of the Ambien and the alcohol. I mean, there's no way you can have 4 or 5 shots at 16 of alcohol then have Ambien or whatever roofie that was. So my guess is he probably did die of an overdose, and he did finish off the brother like he was going to kill her. How cruel is that? Taking that plastic wrap and just watching her suffocate. Talk about vindictive. Oh my!
So first of all, he gets up. I remember he gets up, got this cylinder in his hand, and then as he's going up the stairs, I only saw like the drink and the roofie or whatever, and I was like, "What was that cylinder?" And then, oh my God, I was
I was screaming. It was just me in the theater. I'm like,
it's like a trigger warning. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't watch this."
I know that. And that made the ending hit hard. And then when she cries and she sees her son, he actually proved to his dad with that smile on his face that I'm getting emotional thinking about it. He proved that he was the good guy. He was the man that his father knew he was, but he was so wrapped up in trying to be the stereotype of the athletic, smart, popular jock, and in the end, he ended up saving the day. So powerful stuff. Really, for me, it hit hard. In the end, my jaw just dropped.
There's nothing else to say because I got it wrong. But actually, I will say this. Did you notice there's some weird production elements? Like we never see what else is past the daughter's bedroom until the end. And then we realize it's this fantastic master bathroom with like glass or whatever. And then as he's going out the kitchen, there are these set of stairs that go up to where? Like so there were these weird production design elements that I kind of was like, what's going on with this fucking house? But I enjoyed that, right? And then there's even other scenes where it's like, wait, that's a garage in the back. What's the geography like? Or what? These are the things that go through my head.
Yeah.
But we mentioned before that, and they didn't really tie it up, which I know it shouldn't bug me as a viewer, but it fucking bugged me as a viewer. But like, I guess Lucy Liu was embezzling or something, because we get these scenes where he calls and he's like, hypothetically, if one spouse was involved in another, what would there be? And there seems to be this tension. And then he says, like, holds her hand and says, we're going to go away and I'm with you with this and we'll deal with it. And it seems to resolve itself. But then they don't come back to it. And
that was one that I think it was meant to, like, again, prove why the son is the way he is. Why did they make the choices? Because mom was all about winning at no matter the cost. I kind of got that she was in business, construction, real estate, and probably embezzled from some job that she was doing, or like you said, like embezzled or some kind of fraud that she was involved in.
You could tell she's looking at her laptop, and then he comes up. By the way, he comes up in his shoes, and I was like, why are you walking all the way up the stairs into your bedroom with your fucking shoes? Anyway, but she like turns her laptop and she's like, oh, there's some kind of virus. And she's like, you know what I mean? Like, purposely hiding her laptop. But now that you told me about your interpretation, which I think is right, you're right. I think the son realized, like we all do when we get older, that our parents are going through more shit than we think. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why he was like, oh my God, I didn't know what my sister was going through. I didn't realize what mom and dad were doing and like sort of like hurting themselves. I was just this selfish brat.
Yeah, can you imagine going back and seeing the last few days before you die? That's what he did. And the camera does this amazing job of showing, like, especially when you see the scene where he talks about how they basically humiliate this girl and take a picture of her and send it everywhere. And the mother's laughing. And I'm just like, what an asshole. And his spirit. And that is a misdirect, because they're like, oh, that's definitely Nadia. This is one of those girls that are mad because he humiliates girls. He's probably involved. Maybe he's the one who killed these girls. Oh man, this brother, it's all him. And so when it goes up and tears the room up, you're thinking, but then as soon as it ended, that was the first thing my head went back to, that scene, and back to Chris telling him there's a good person in you somewhere. I hope to live to see it. And he did. He saved the day. He saved his sister. And, mom lost the son and she needed to. She needed that humility. She lost her favorite kid, unfortunately, and she has to deal with that. And powerful stuff. That scream she did at the end.
Oh my God, the whale. God. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Zoe Saldana in Avatar, where she's like, sorry. Yeah, that broke my heart when she did that. I was like, oh, it's the wail of mourning and regret. Oh my God, wow.
Yeah, really good stuff. You can tell that Stir of Echoes, same writer. I mean, there's just so many little fun things between Stir of Echoes and Poltergeist and all these other stories that are all kind of tied in. This is a great little flick. Again, like you said, the acting's not always solid. Some of the stuff is teleported in. You kind of have to piece stuff together. But I'm pretty sure
you're making the puns.
Not quite to the red levels, but yes. So overall, the more I talk about it, the more I like it, because I was kind of like, oh, soft watch this. But now the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, it's a lot of fun. And that ending got me. That ending twist was really powerful. As a parent, she realized her mistakes and seeing her son through there, and then going back to the psychic, looking through that nitrate mirror. It's just, there's a lot of cool stuff that was all brought, and that's that comes back to Koepp. His writing is definitely here. It's 100% a Koepp joint. You could tell by the way it's written, even with some of he does like to play with these stereotypes and sometimes there's contrivances, but I think he needed to. They needed to be there to kind of throw you off at times. So really fun mystery, really well put together. And in the end, you know, as a family man, someone with some kids, it hit hard for me. It's not funny that you said that you called it a back to school special. I think it's more of a message for parents than it is
No,
actually
it is.
for the kids.
Definitely.
But
Yeah, totally. That was just me being like off the cuff and terrible. But Steven and David, you can certainly come on our show and we'll interview you.
yes.
And I'll try not to make out with you virtually. So you know what? It's weird. I'm changing it. It's definitely a solid watch now. Everybody go and see it.
Yeah, just go see it. Give it a view. It needs some money. I applaud Neon for taking this theatrically because yes, you would think that the way that Sundance plays, people are picking things up and they're not getting a lot of theatrical love for a lot of Sundance stuff. It's just going right to streaming. So I'm glad this is getting theatrical. And even though we're not getting a lot of a marketing push, it's out there and it's at 5 or 6 theaters here locally. So I'm sure that it's out there in most cities and states if you have a chance and it's still there by the time you get to watch this, go see it. Again, Presence is, I would say it's a watch close to a strong watch. I'm still in between that because again, some of the casting of both the son and the main villain could have been a little bit tighter. I think we were going too much for certain looks and actual acting ability. And then some of that dialogue towards the end of the son of the bad guy explaining why he kills was kind of really ham-fisted and corny.
But the picture of evil, good performance, West Mulholland. So I definitely everybody go out and see this. Don't wait. It demands the big screen because of the perspective. Definitely. All right, so we got some pluses.
Yes.
WillDaBeast, I'll start with you. What you got this week?
Okay, well, I'm going to review a movie. My son has been bugging me. My 7-year-old has been bugging me to watch the new Netflix film Back in Action. And I had no idea. He kept saying Back in Action. And so I'm thinking Looney Tunes Back in Action, right? Like silly, fun Brendan Fraser movie. I'm like, oh, he wants to watch Back in Action. Oh, fun. I love that movie. And so I was trying to like find it. And he's like, no, Dad, it's on Netflix. I'm like, what is he talking about? And boom, he pulls up this trailer. And I was like, wait, is this the movie that Jamie Foxx almost died making? Okay, I've got to watch this stuff. And then, of course, I see it's a Seth Gordon jam, which I'm a big fan of him, going back to his Sundance days as a documentarian with King of Kong, I think was what he started with. And he does a lot of critically reviled, but Mike loves stupid movies like Baywatch. I love a lot of the dumb movies that he does for Christmases. Seth Gordon started as like this documentarian indie Sundance guy who has turned into just making a bunch of big, dumb, fun movies that just want you to turn your brain.
Man, that was great.
And I
love Baywatch.
Back in Action is as stupid as hell. It's so damn dumb, but man, did I have fun watching it. And so did my kids. It's got some big, bombastic, explosive scenes. We've got some great set pieces on a plane. Cameron Diaz kicking ass again, tuning into her old days of being an angel. She just is such a badass. I had so much fun watching this movie. Of course, it's flawed, but anytime I see it's a Seth Gordon flick, I'm going to watch it. I know it's going to be dumb, and I know it's going to be somewhere in Rotten Tomatoes is going to have it between a 10 and a 20%. But for me, it's the kind of dumb fodder that I think just worked for a Saturday family flick. So, Back in Action, if you are a fan of either the main actors, Jamie Foxx or Cameron Diaz, I'd say give it a watch. It's a little bit long on the tooth, as I say, and it's a little bit, it's totally trite and it's completely ridiculous and it makes no logical sense, but it's a big bombastic fun. So if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. To Jose.
So this is funny, and I will not violate the NDA. But I saw this 10 months ago as
the Netflix preview. Yeah.
Cool. And you are correct. I had a blast with this. There are some parts of this, speaking of after school special, there are some parts of this with the kids where I'm kind of like, okay, maybe could have cut that or whatever. It feels a lot like a parental Keeping Up with the Joneses. Do you remember that movie with
Zach Galifianakis and
Fisher and
John Hamm?
Yep. And Gal Gadot. Gadot. But yeah, I had a blast with it too. And the moment I knew I was going to have fun with that film was when they're speeding away in the family van and they cause an accident and the car goes flying above them. And Cameron Diaz goes, "What?" And then looks at Jamie Foxx fist bump, and they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm on board. I am absolutely on board.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? This movie reminded me of, because I just watched Shotgun Wedding with Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel.
Okay.
Also a very stupid movie, and yet I was laughing my ass off. And it was just a great comedy action flick. Like I had a blast with Shotgun Wedding. I had a blast with Back in Action. And it was just so good to see Cameron Diaz back on screen. I love
And she just looked so happy. She looked like she was having the time of her life.
Oh,
she was
effortless.
Just effortlessly, just her smile, her charm. I just wanted to reach through and give her a high five and a fist bump myself. I thought she was it was great having her back in this kind of big fun role, seeing her kick a lot of ass. And I just was 100% on board for her. I really did think that it was just a lot of fun. And Jamie Foxx, man, whatever, he's okay. But I was really sold by Cameron. I thought she just had a lot of fun. And actually did a good job with, go ahead.
Fox is interestingly restrained here.
Yeah, he's kind of almost the straight man. It's weird. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. And she's the one who's more hamming it up. It kind of reminds me of what, what's her name? Electra, the one Jennifer Garner's been doing. Like we recently watched the Yes Day movie.
Oh my God, Yes Day. So good.
She is so joyous and so much like, her performance and Cameron Diaz put me up there with just joyful mom characters that you just want to spend time with. Just such a fun role, and the way that they both tackle those roles in stupid, silly movies, just a lot of fun. And I just wanted to hug Cameron Diaz the whole time and talk about the action sequences were great, and they did a good job of really like hiding the body doubles and the stuntmen
and the pants and stuff.
Because I'm always looking for that. They did a really great job of hiding that in this, because it really looked like Cameron was kicking some ass. She did. It really did. They did a good job of not showing who the stunt people were. So overall, that's my plus. I'd say it's on Netflix. A really stupid Seth Gordon jam. Go watch it. Back in Action.
Yeah. I think that came out, I want to say January 19th. Nonetheless, it's relatively new.
Yeah.
I will also say the gas station scene where the kids watch them open up a can of whip ass. Amazing. Just brilliant. Everybody go watch it. Okay. So for my plus, it's a skincare plus. I don't know about you. It is fucking cold here in Maryland. And oftentimes my summer moisturizer doesn't cut it. And so, I don't even know if they still make this, but this is the Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream. But what I love about this is it has ceramide 3 and natural moisturizing factors. So ceramide is a sort of ingredient that helps to boost the natural moisturizing factor of your own skin. So the more that you put it on, it actually helps your skin to become moisturized, although it also helps to hydrate. I might add, ceramides have also been shown to help with eczema. So there's a bunch of them like ceramide A, P, OP, NOP, and EOP. Those are actually the best ones. Very few products have all of them. This only has one of them, actually. But the key ingredient here, which is great, is something called urea. Mm-hmm. Urea, also known as carbomer. It is actually technically derived from urine. It's a chemical from urine, but there's no urine in this, folks. This is not a water sports cream. And so urea basically not only boosts your natural moisturizing factors, but it also helps to, in some ways, exfoliate the skin, but in a gentle way that doesn't hurt your skin, like an alpha hydroxy acid, a beta hydroxy acid, or the new polyhydroxy acids. Y'all know from past episodes, I'm such an ingredient skincare whore. But anyway, I love this. It does actually moisturize my skin all day in the winter. My skin feels smooth, no crappy dry flakes or whatever. Eucerin, if you stop making this, I will find your. No, actually, we can't say that. I'm so sorry. I almost...
No threatening. No threat.
Sorry. Just don't stop making it because it's fantastic.
It is.
It's really great. I love it. Oh
My kids.
God,
My kids have eczema, so we keep that stuff around, use it on their hands. My kid gets bumps, so between that and CeraVe seems to really, really help. So yeah, Eucerin and CeraVe, we keep that stuff around.
Actually, if you want a counterpart to this cream in CeraVe, they have a Rough Skin SA, which is their multi-hydroxyic acid or whatever that helps with it's called chicken skin, which I keep trying to stop that, but it's called pilarsis.
Yeah, my son has it.
Pilarsis, but it's basically the bumps here.
You get them here and then up around, and he gets them sometimes on his face too. Gets those bumps all over.
Yeah. But folks, don't put an alpha hydroxy body lotion on your face. Just try to find
don't
something
do that.
Thinner consistency, please.
Use Aveeno on your face.
Just do it. Okay, so that's our plus. Wow, I have a whole new view of presence. Thank you so much, because I misinterpreted it.
I thought it was obvious. It seemed obvious to me, but now because it does make you think several times that it's the two different girls, and you might be one of their.
Could it be the three of them? I don't know. But David Koepp, Steven, you're welcome to come on our show and explain yourselves. All right. So if you love us, again, follow, like, subscribe, leave comments. Now that we've got a new co-host, we've always been saying this. We want to foster a community and talk about the movies, right? If you think we got it wrong, if Cupcake is right, let us. I'm kidding. Let us know. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We have that presence, and if you love us, presence, see, we're doing
Puns.
If you love us, you'll certainly love our Podfathers, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema. They actually did a relatively recent picture. The Gentleman's Guide doesn't usually do recent films, but they picked a 2021 film called Operation Hyacinth, directed by Peter Domolewski. Sounds Polish to me, but check that out. And then, of course, our other Podfathers, Not a Bomb, Troy and Brad, they just did Sahara with all right, Matthew McConaughey. That was his bid to be Dirk Pitt from the famous is it Clive Cussler? Clive Cussler.
Hustler, yep.
Clive Cussler novels, Dirk Pitt. It failed, hence Not a Bomb.
So sad. It's such a good movie too.
It is fun, right? Penelope Cruz, Steve Zahn,
and
great acting.
Yeah, great. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Fun stuff. You also love the OGs, the Night of the Living podcast, Wild Dream podcast. Check out their newest episode. They also did Wolfman. Let's see how other people interpreted Wolfman. Death by DVD. Raiders of the podcast. Keep threatening to put Kevin on here. He's got to come back.
They're so fun.
Backlook Cinema podcast with Zoe. And now for something a little bit different, that's the John Horgan YouTube. We both guested on that. Eventually, I'm going to end up doing Fearless, the overlooked but amazing Jeff Bridges film. Caliber 9 from Outer Space, Feminine Critique, and then this back catalog of podcasts, if you love film: Married with Clickers, VHS Files, Silva and Gold, Cult of Muscle, Friends with Cinephites, which is MC's podcast. Mike, any parting thoughts?
No, I just, as always, get out there, get to the theaters. I'm right now in the beginning of Sundance, and there's nothing like being in a packed theater to see a film, especially one that you know nothing about. So get out there, see film in public with everybody. I mean, we have to continue to get out there, whether it's seeing Broadway, theater, film, concerts. We just need to be out there and be a part of the energy of life. I think that we still, even though it's 5 years behind us, the pandemic lingered with a lot of us, and many of my friends don't get out of the house anymore like they used to. So get out of your house, enjoy life, experience things, go to the movies, go see a Broadway play, go see a concert. Don't just sit in your home and collect stuff. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. Support exposition and get a la Amityville Horror. Anyway, yeah, everybody, please be kind, be open, be vulnerable. That's where the art is. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.